Welcome to the SDA Housing Podcast, brought to you by NDIS Property Australia. Before starting this episode, we need to provide a general disclaimer. Information contained in this podcast is general in nature only. It does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. You need to consider your financial situation and needs before making any decisions based on the information in this podcast. And you should consider seeking independent and professional advice for your personal circumstances. All right, let's begin.
Hello everybody, my name is Minh and I'm your host for today from NDIS Property Australia, and you're here at the new launch of 2023, the SDA Housing Podcast, and with me is Debbie and Matt. Welcome all.
Good to be here.
Hello.
How was your holiday break, Debbie?
Really good. Very relaxing after a very busy 2022. Took the chance to do very little for a couple of weeks. It was great.
Matt, what did you get up to?
Not too much, just relaxed with friends and family. So
Yes,
that was
yes.
super nice, yeah.
You sure it was nice?
Yeah, always have a good time. Great Christmas, yeah.
So what's the year ahead looking like for us? What are we doing today, Debbie?
Well, we are talking about the year ahead and our plans for 2023, building on an amazing year last year in terms of our marketing, our learning, and everything that we brought to the SDA world that we want to continue doing this year.
Yeah. And we met a lot of new players in the marketplace. We've learned a lot more things. We've brainstormed ideas to help improve how we roll out SDA product around Australia. And you know, I think it's been a great journey for us for the last 2 years, Matt. What say you?
I feel like the industry is very much moving towards more of a collaborative approach with different people working together, recognising that not everyone has all the pieces, and that it's important to work together, both, you know, I suppose in our team, but also with the broader community. So it's been great seeing that. Obviously, that's a beneficial thing if people can come together and share their unique experiences in this industry. And we've definitely noticed that over the last year, and we've tried to make that a core part of what we do, I suppose.
For sure, yeah. So I guess let's start with our looking ahead, talking about the podcast. And we have plans that we did mention late last year on a new sub-series, a monthly episode that is going to be talking mainly about data, supply and demand around Australia. Minh, do you want to elaborate?
I think it's going to be your gig, Debbie.
Probably.
You'll be doing it. So I reckon we should do a once a month, 15th, middle of month, just a data analytics session. Choose a little suburb or a town or city and go, okay, let's choose the numbers, what's the pipeline, what's happening in the area, and give our feedback to our listeners how we go about doing our homework, due diligence and research as well. Yeah. Because people, you know, they always ask, how do I go about the data? How do I know more? And
there's so much information out there that it's sometimes hard to, you know, know where to come out of it.
I've yet to come across someone who knows all the information to do their decision. Because you know, the investors or the developers or whoever they are, they're just too, I don't know.
It's a bit overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, it is. And I think we, or Debbie, should take the lead here, and every month we do a little sub-series called SDA Unlocked, and just talk about the data behind it all, and what tools and resources to use to go about it. I mean, we covered it late last year with a podcast, me, you and Donna, Debbie. We did. But let's take it to another practical case study and doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to doing that. I love the stats. I love the data behind it. So, yeah, I'll be bringing you in-depth details on hotspots around Australia, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. And I think the other thing we wanted to do with our podcast, as directed by our marketing team, Erin and Luba, is to bring in more engagement with people with lived experience. I think that is really important from an investor's perspective, to actually understand the people who are going to be living in your house.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I've mentioned it before that the funding and the money follows the participant, not the house. And it's important to understand on the other side of things, not the investor side, but the actual lived experience of people in NDIS housing to inform decisions in this space, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Okay, moving on from the podcast, let's talk about new ideas, new products that we want to bring to the table this year. Minh.
One of our groups we work with called Equity Fund. They work very closely with a large the biggest lender for NDIS, SDA, called Columbus Capital or Homestar. They've just launched a 90-10 product, meaning 10% deposit. It's more like 15%. So 15% product, meaning 5% covers the stamp duty and 10% is the 90-10 LVR. So 9% LVR, 10% deposit. So we're looking forward to learning more about that product, to let our investors know about talking to Equity Fund Group, to learn more about an easier way to get into the SDA market. That's one financial product which we don't get involved with because we're not finance brokers ourselves, but we are aware of that new product that people should be considering. Yeah.
For sure. And what about some other ideas we've got? Project management.
Yeah, we're coming across some build designers and groups who can provide the project management service to do developments and do small little projects. I think doing a subdivision or doing a little pack of villas or doing a apartment complex project for NDIS could be a little bit overwhelming. So it'd be nice to know that we actually have contacts in certain areas to actually do that for clients. So if you are a more sophisticated investor for SDA and want more hands-on support from someone who understands how to do developments in the NDIS market, then we can definitely refer you on. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I guess we're also looking into building more of a database of research as background for our investors, things like demand, which we already do, but building on that. And of course, as we just mentioned, the monthly podcast that we're doing will be part of that, but also things like builders reports.
We really recommend investors who are about to embark on working with a builder anywhere in Australia to engage a company called Builder Background Checks. So the website is builderchecks.com.au. Just to pay a small fee to do a background check on the builder they're about to engage, just to make sure that they're doing the homework and they look clean and nothing untoward is happening in the background there with regards to their survivability, is that a word? Their viability as a builder, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we do have a lot of investors coming to us and asking about the builders and how do we know they're not going to go under like so many others have over the last couple of years.
Current environment, yeah.
And we also have a SDA provider in Brisbane here called Everhomes, who actually do reports for SDA in all areas around Australia. So if you are about to invest in Tasmania or Melbourne or Adelaide and you don't know the data behind it all, you want to look into an actual official report to see how strong it is as a demand and supply pipeline, then we recommend you talk to us and we'll refer you on to them to engage them for I think $400, I think.
No, I think that's money well worth spent if you're going to be looking at an investment, anywhere up to $1 million or even over.
Absolutely.
That's a very small amount to pay for a little bit of peace of mind that you're getting the good data, the right data that you need. I guess another product that we are trying to bring to the party is more future-proofing initiatives. We use this word a lot, future-proofing your investment. Minh, you want to tell us a bit more about some of those
Some
products?
examples of future-proofing could be nice garden, like actually spending money to actually... You're right, the word future-proofing is very loosely used, but let me just give examples, right? So spending 10 grand on a nice garden in the backyard, that's an example of a sensory garden there. Nice flowers, nice trees, nice fish pond, whatever. There's something different in the backyard. That's one. Two, having more storage space around the house, right? A few extra $1,000 there. Also, having an OOA office on top of the OOA bed. So there's two separate areas for the OOA in the house.
Or like a larger OOA unit.
Yes. Having a modified, fully accessible car.
Yeah, tell us more about the car.
It's about 90 grand or 85 to 90 grand, depending on if it's a one passenger or two passenger vehicle. 14 months to deliver it from overseas. It's a full write off from a tax perspective, and it earns about 45 grand a year income.
So that you can add 45 grand onto your SDA income, which...
Well, yes and no, Debbie, because the money will come through the still provider.
Oh, absolutely. It comes from a different
Through
source.
the transportation line item. But the people who work with the vehicles, they've said to us they've done about 9 or 10 different participants, and they're all getting about 160 a day or 145 a day, which works about 45 grand a year. Yeah. 45 grand a year, yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
And as well as that, not only that is, I suppose, on the intangible side, you're creating a house which has transport access.
Yes. So the reality is, for participants calling a maxi taxi every day, that's going to be hard to get that done. Like, there's not many maxi taxis around, and it is costly, $30-40 each way, right? So that's $80 a day looking at for a vehicle. $80 a day times 5 days a week, that's, how much is that? $400 right there.
And just the added incentive of having that vehicle on call in your house has got to be a huge bonus.
But it also attracts the participants as well.
That's what I mean,
like,
yeah.
It's a fully accessible motor vehicle.
Yeah.
So
And what kind of a vehicle is it? I think it's a
Stara
Hyundai. Kia or Hyundai Staria?
I can't remember.
I think it's a Hyundai.
Okay.
But they look good. It's a definite value add
So
from the participants' perspective.
Yes, we're recommending our developers who are actually buying this to hold, or our bigger investors who are buying multiple properties side by side, to actually look at buying this as an asset to the houses, because it will attract the HBS and FA participants.
For sure.
So it removes the whole, it's so far away from hospital and amenities. Well, if you have a car there on site, you can actually go wherever you want every day. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
It does. It negates the whole location issue. Okay. Let's talk about the changing SDA market and what we've seen coming in the last 6-12 months, and where we see it going this year.
Well, last year, Matt, we saw more challenges, house and land versus apartments. What's your thoughts there?
At the start of the year, and I suppose 2021, we saw a lot of home and land packages, particularly in areas like Townsville, etc., going up, all over the estates. And we've kind of moved away from that, because it is, if you've got more elements, I suppose, to the building process, to the project, sometimes, with the changing building market, and the unpredictability of it, it's sometimes easier just if there's more components to go to something smaller, like an apartment or a villa or a unit. I feel like we've noticed that, and I feel like our investors and people we work with are more leaning towards that. I feel.
Yeah, and certainly we are now getting developers coming to us with apartment projects or small villa projects,
Which are already DA approved or under construction.
Yeah.
So, as Matt said, the lack of land the last year and a half, the fear of builders going belly up, that sort of made people shy away from an NDIS SDA house and land package.
Yep.
So they're looking for what's an easy alternative, something that's almost built or under construction.
Yep.
Right. So they are other options that they consider, and I think we've done a lot of that, more so this year, and that
Absolutely.
last year, 2022, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And what sort of areas do we think we're going to be focusing on this year?
I think we'll see a lot more action in SDA market for apartments in Melbourne and Sydney and Perth. They're the three. We still get a lot of resistance from people. Oh, no, I don't want to buy an apartment because I want to buy a house and land, the values in the land. But that's the old school mindset. We've all been taught land is where the money is and the value is. But as you remember, SDA is not the traditional property
cash
investment.
flow.
It's all about cash flow from the participants, from the government. Yeah. So, do you think a person really wants to share a house with 3-4 other people? Like, not really. I mean, would you? No. Everybody wants to live in a nice, peaceful suburb in a brand new apartment, have your own space, and for free. Everybody wants that if they were a normal individual, right? Normal individual. But with some participants, you can't always assume that everybody wants to live in a group home or You can't always assume that. So there's always an element of the SDA population that wants their own privacy, living by themselves. There is that element. So, and that's where we'll see more of that product coming out in the next year or 2 years from our work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess as an investor, if you are still in that property mindset, remember this is, okay, yes, it is a property investment, but it's also a business you're buying, you're creating. So it does require a different outlook, really, as to what you're buying.
I was also going to say, just a final note on that from an investor's perspective, if you're just getting an apartment, you're only looking for one participant, which makes things a lot more easy in terms of the dynamics in the house, etc.
One participant you're looking for, not 3 or 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw last year we were getting a lot of inquiries coming in from people with land, seeking advice on how to build an STA on that. And we had some developers, as we've already mentioned, and building designers we've started to work with late last year. So that's another sort of offering that we want to work more on. Minh?
People with land. Yeah, so people with land for development, yeah, they're all there. They're all coming out now to ask for advice, ask for direction. What do I build on here? Should I sell it? Should I joint venture it? Should I... What is the demand? So it's good to see that flow of inquiry. Our referrals from other builders and other providers are giving us access to these investors who are looking to do some direction, I guess. It's good to see that. Without land, we cannot create product. So we're starting to get more busier with this land supply coming through to us.
Yeah. And yeah, with those relationships that we are building with more of these designers, custom builders, I think that's going to be something really great that we can bring to the table this year for our potential investors and landowners.
Yes.
I wanted to talk also about STA.
Yes.
Minh.
We've touched on this point a few times the last year and a half.
And just to iterate, STA meaning short-term accommodation, yeah.
Different from SDA. So STA is more of a cousin of SDA. And it's what it is. It's short-term accommodation. So the 3 siblings, I would call it, is the short-term accommodation, the medium-term accommodation, and the specialist disability accommodation. So they're the 3 little siblings in a little pod there. We all talk about, this podcast is all about SDA, but there is an element that we should also consider is STA being short-term accommodation, because I've said it before, but imagine there was a disability house which was had a baby with Airbnb, right? This would be STA, right? It's just a short-term booking, be it 1 day, 1 weekend, 1 week, 1 month, to allow participants to have a break and
allow their carers to have a break.
Yes. So we started working with 2 or 3 different individuals recently. One's building a house on Macleay Island off Redland Bay, east of Brisbane, to look at doing a 3-bedroom short-term accommodation environment, not SDA compliant, just this disability-friendly environment.
Yeah, so that's the great thing about STA. It doesn't have to meet any stringent design standards. Ideally, it has some accessibility, but it doesn't have to.
Exactly. Yeah, we have another person called John, one of my friends. He has a brand new apartment in East Brisbane here, 3-bedroom unit. Another apartment in Cannon Hill, 2-bedroom unit, and another house, 6-bedroom house in Murray. And he's looking at exploring having them all being used as also STA, short-term accommodation as well, in conjunction with his Airbnb bookings as well. Because as we know, Airbnb isn't 100% booking, the occupancy, it's about 60 or 70%, right? But having this as an element, an actual product in the community for disabled people to book, using their core funding or their STA funding to go to the cricket match or to the events around Brisbane, away from their normal life, wherever that normal life is, just to have a different lifestyle.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to experience different things and learn new things. And I think what's really important to understand is that every single NDIS participant can access STA. It's not just for those with SDA funding. They've either got short-term accommodation in their plan or they can use their core funding to have a break from home.
So we all in life, every one of us, myself included, we all need a break. A couple of days or a couple of weeks a year. Participants are no different. They also need a break. Yeah.
So there could be a break from home to give their parents, who are their primary carers, a break. They might need accommodation in town to go for some medical visits, and mix that in with a night or two somewhere different where they can go to the movies, go to the museum, whatever it is that they like to do.
So this year ahead, Debbie, we are looking to spend more time to help investors, property investors, who don't want to be in SDA, but want to supply dwellings for STA. And that's a totally different market.
Yeah, and that also, as you mentioned before, MTA, medium-term accommodation. Again, MTA doesn't have to be built to the SDA standards. It can be any home, ideally with some accessibility, but it can also be provided as a medium-term accommodation dwelling.
Cool. Well, that wraps that up. We'll cover that more in the coming few months this year, Debbie.
Yeah. Did you want to talk briefly, Minh, about our sister brand, Build New Homes?
Build New Homes. So as you some people may be aware, our real estate license around Australia is called Build New Homes Queensland, trading as NDIS Property Australia, which is our own company, a subsidiary company. So we want to let our listeners know that, hey, just because we talk about NDIS a lot for property-wise, it doesn't mean that we cannot supply the advice or service to help you out with non-SDA property, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's still the same concept. It's a house on a block of land with tenants, with build challenges and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to diversify your portfolio on top of your SDA purchase, feel free to give us a call, talk to us. We're happy to talk to you about, helping you get into a SIL house as an investment, or an MTA or a STA house. Okay, so again, that's a very different topic. I don't want to cover too much about it here. It's very complex, right? But just be aware there are other options in what we do outside of SDA, and we're happy to talk to our listeners about that if they want to hear some ideas.
Yeah, and I guess too, if any listeners sort of have been doing a bit of research into NDIS property and feel that maybe it's not for them and they do want to just do a regular investment, we can supply that as well. So we do plan on building our Build New Homes site a bit more with bringing some new staff in to the organisation to look after that. So that's something that's really exciting for the new year.
Yes.
Is building our business here. I wanted to talk more about continuing our presence in events and whatnot around Australia that we really did a lot of last year.
I thought Tasmania was an incredible experience, and I feel like we brought a lot to the table. If we can continue doing that, doing these small events which allow us to network at the same time as meeting people in the industry that can benefit both participants that we run across as well as investors.
Yeah, it's been a big learning curve for us to attend all these events, as well as most importantly, the networking, meeting the other people in the industry.
I think the event organizer, Lynn Gabriel, who we work with very closely, I think she only intends to do 3 this year: Perth, Hobart and Melbourne. Because it is a bit of an effort to travel around Australia everywhere doing all these events, so she'll want to limit what she does.
Yeah, and it's not just about the conferences, it's also about all the expos. We attended many of them last year, and we certainly intend to go to as many as we can this year around the country as well.
I think we'll definitely be focused on Hobart, Melbourne and Perth this year, more so this year.
Yeah. Right, well, I think that just about wraps up most of what we have kind of been talking about in-house for this coming year ahead. Back to the podcast. We want to hear what you want to hear about. So if you've got any topic requests or if you want to be a guest on one of our episodes, please feel free to contact Erin, our podcast manager, and her email is in the description here, erin@participants.com.au. She will be in touch with you to, if you do want to be a guest speaker, to find out more about what we can talk about with you. But if you have anything you want to hear about that we haven't covered or you want to hear about in more detail, we love your ideas for episodes. And I also want to just mention that we've got a milestone coming up. Our 100th episode is going to be released on the 7th of February.
Wonderful. So we've been doing a lot of podcast recordings, interviews, Debbie. So we're booked up to March, so 3 months in advance already. So that's how much we've done with regards to the pipeline of podcasts. So we're getting more and more good speakers and more topics, and Erin's doing a great job. Thank you, Erin, if you're listening. Of course you are listening. I think it's good to have a nice diversity of speakers and topics in our podcast moving forward for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, any last words, Matt?
No, just I'm very much looking forward to the year ahead and just continuing to, I suppose, do what we do best, as well as exploring new ways of both assisting our investors and collaborating with people in this ever-changing SDA world.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, Debbie, do more travel around Australia to visit all the events, because you missed out on it a lot when you were overseas in India. But here now you'll be doing a lot more of that. So we look forward to setting you up with more meetings and events for you.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting out and meeting a lot more people this year. And doing more of what we love doing.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Have a good year ahead.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you are subscribed and following us so you can keep in the loop with all of our upcoming episodes. We would really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating, a written review, and to share this podcast with those that could benefit. Until next time, catch you on the next episode.